It is day one of both kids being back at school. Yesterday was day one for one of the kids being back at school, and he's now gone on a 2-day residential trip. So that's good. Life can begin to get back to normal again, but I suppose a new anxiety kicks in. Will they be all right at school? Will everything be okay? And all that, but that's more about me. So, summer's done. Bit of a shame, really. I love summer. And I always get a bit funny this time of year because it's like a real change. But, yeah. Optimistic onwards and upwards. We'll keep you posted.
Good morning. So the school run is done and it couldn't have gone any better. So proud of him this morning. Woke up, opened my eyes, took a deep breath and got ready. Prepared myself for the worst. And the first thing he said when he woke up was, "Quick, get my uniform on, I won't be early." So, smashed it.
This is Adopters Anonymous. Anything you say here is in the strictest confidence.
Who are these people?
Man, these people are heroes.
These wonderful folk, Carl and Martin, they truly are great people. They deal with crazy stuff every day, every single day.
So, a really quick one. How has it gone since we spoke last? If you could sum it up in 5 words, shall we say?
5 words. Exhausting. Stressful. Amazing. Pride. And happiness. Because we've had both. You know, we've had mega bumps in the road, but as I said to you, that day we had at the skate park, was for me the best day of the holiday because he was totally anxiety free, smile on his face, and we were in there for 4 hours. In an activity for 4 hours for my son is a huge success.
Why do you think that it worked so well? What do you think it is? Does it just hit those dopamine levels?
I think so. I mean, you get to the top of the ramp, you go down the ramp, you get that buzz of, you know, of the feeling of going down quick, the achievement that you've done it, then you do a jump or a little bit of a trick. The place looks really, really cool.
Yeah.
And the people in there, staff and other users, it's brilliant. The atmosphere is really inclusive. And I think sweat was pouring off him.
Yeah.
And, you know, we got back home and he was so calm because he'd had 4 hours of, like, doing stunts, being on a skateboard, going on a scooter. And there was one little bit where I'd nipped out, came back in, and I had a quick look to see where he was, make sure he was still in there. But I saw him at the top of the ramp with another lad who was similar age to him, and I'm thinking, where's his scooter? Next minute, both of them sliding down the ramp on the backside.
Yeah.
But he had a whale of a time.
I think it also allows them to meet people with similar interests.
Yeah.
You know, if they like it, they're more likely to get on with that sort of person who will say, "Oh, try this, do this," rather than someone that they just meet randomly because they're forced into it, say a neighbour or somewhere at a park when they're playing which, you know, is pre-forced, and you never know who you're going to meet, and it's just going to be like, oh, okay, it's him again. I really like it for that reason, and I think, as I said to you, I'm taking my boys there this weekend as a sort of end of the holiday thing. But was that after you messaged me the other day? Because I can't remember, I think I was on the beach.
Yes.
I was on the beach.
Yeah, you were. You were complaining that it was a bit cold because they turned the fans on.
That's right. Which needs to go onto the socials because
it does. It's a proper.
When it was windy, it was proper windy, and all the rugs would blow it and everything. And it was really warm and sunny, and we took a garden umbrella, a parasol thingy that Rachel's dad had given us because I couldn't get ours in the car. It was that bloody big. So we got this sort of colourful thing, and we're holding on to it, and the wind was blowing. I was like, oh, boys, why do you reckon it's so windy? And they're like, whoa, those fans over there keep blowing, and pointing at the turbines out. See, and I think Ash was like, oh, shut up. And Luke's like, really? So I'm probably doing him down. He probably didn't say that. It's probably artistic humour. But then, so I was sat on the beach. I think I was enjoying one of those moments where I'd been up since about 5 a.m, done the dog walk, done everything I need to do, and then found myself behind the wheel of a car for 2.5 hours. And then having to park miles away from where I dropped them all off because the parking was so bad there, and had to walk, and finally found them. And they're like sat down having a laugh, and I just let them get on with it for a bit while I just decompressed. But as I was decompressing, I got this message, and I'm going to play it to you.
My wife has just taken my son to Lakeland or skate park. He's not been there for a while, but he just love going. It's been a tough one this morning. We've struggled to get his meds down him, which we have had in the past. So probably the reason why we've had a tough morning. It's getting to the stage where I don't want to confront him with things while I try and get his meds down. Because I know I'm going to get bitten, punched, kicked, whacked on the arm with a mobile phone today. He's 10. You know, and what's it going to be like in a few years' time when he has a bit of a blowout? He needs to go back to school. He needs some routine. So he's gone out on the street to sing a song, but he's in his pants, a strong wrap around his top half, and wearing high heel boots. We have not got a problem with him doing that at all. You know, if he wants to do that, that's absolutely fine. He's not hurting anybody. As a dad, I'm not bothered. Really not bothered. But I would prefer it for him, at the age he is now, for him to do it in the house or in the back garden. Because if the other boys on the street saw it, boys being boys, they'd say something and it upset him. Then he'd come in and have a meltdown. So my wife's tried to say to him, like, you need to come in, we've got to get ready, we've got to go to the activity. Just one more song. It's like, I don't want you doing this out on the street, because if somebody sees you, they'll pick on you. You know, we're trying to protect him, but he doesn't see it like that. So, we've been called every name under the sun. He hates us, we're horrible, we're nasty saying that to him. And then, like I say, I'm hooked on the arm with a mobile phone. Had one of his high heel boots thrown out. I get a breather now. And I'll take over when my wife gets home. I can see the finish line. It's, you know, you just we're close. And we've had some really good times. We've had some laughs. We've enjoyed it. Just... it's getting bigger. It's a bit of a worry. I feel exhausted now.
I am naturally pretty, as anyone will tell you, and you probably worked out by now, pretty, I'm not like one of those people that's always happy and overexcited. I don't know what the word, I can't find, I'm struggling for words at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. End of school holidays, mate.
Yeah, and I watched that and I thought, oh, Jesus, that's, it got me a bit worried. Not that I would, not worried as, no, not worried, because I know you, and it just made me feel that you need a bit of you time. And also you need a little bit of what one of the members of the group used to have, that time where he'd just take himself off and have self-care, which I never do. I don't think you do. You might get a few hours.
I think the self-care that I get at the minute is the dog walk.
Yeah.
Which is really nice because you go out, you hear the birds singing, occasionally the sun shining, and you're with the dog. You know, hopefully once school holidays are back over, I can try and get back into the gym because I know that massively helps. But yeah, I think I was feeling pretty low when I sent that video.
I think things like the dog walk I find vital because even if it's crack of dawn, I get that, and I think you're right, that respite is vital. I think I was concerned also because you're addressing some fairly big stuff in that as well, and I think we haven't really talked about some of those concerns and fears for the future, maybe, but also
I think there's quite a lot about feelings that in the past, because like that video you sent, that message you sent to me afterwards about each you who says, dust yourself down, get on with it, move on. And, as blokes, we're really good at bottling things up. And, I have a lot of people who I can take the lid off the bottle with. My wife's absolutely unbelievable. I could talk to her quite happily. Brother-in-law's the same. And I've got a few other friends. But I think, the fellas that we met at that house party, they're the kind of people that understand what you go through. So it's a bit easier to talk to that. And definitely since we've been doing this, I do sometimes think, right, stop bombarding Mart.
I know, I can take it.
But I think what we're about to do now, with what we're talking about, I'm probably going to be opening a bottle.
Yeah.
That
it's hard to put the lid back on.
But I've also probably denied that I've got, or hidden it away very, very carefully, because it is the fact that something happens, you go through it, it's done, it's dusted. Yes, you're exhausted, but forget that, move on. And never really address what you've just gone through and how you felt, and because and spoken to somebody about it, because like I say, us blokes aren't supposed to open up.
I can relate 100% to this because I remember probably about 12 or 13 years ago, I was in a this is way before adoption or anything like this. I was in a really, really dark place, and things had come to a head, and my wife, my then girlfriend, now wife, said to me, if you don't do something about this, that, you know, we can't carry on like this. And so she was, although she was cross, she was supportive and pretty much marched me to see someone and start talking about stuff. And I was like, oh, for God's sake, do I have to? I've done this before and it didn't work. Anyway, I was really cross. But anyway, what was the most important thing then, what still is the most important thing is her. And we sat down, and I'm not going to go through everything that happened, but I had a really good therapist for, crikey, Lord knows how many years. And we worked through all the reasons why I was how I was. But what was interesting is that feeling I had then is exactly what you're describing now. And I felt it was my life until that stage had almost gone from not my own making, but one crisis to another, one crisis to another, one crisis to another, one crisis to another, without having any respite from it. And that wasn't my doing. That was the household I was living in, and I was just being swept along. I didn't realise it was happening, and it was becoming second nature. And that was how I was dealing with everything else in my life as well. So when I came to a working situation, you know, I was going through one project, wham bam, thank you, ma'am, get on with it, next one. And so in many ways it prepared me really well for the career I've gone into, and it was fine. But then, you know, you come to a point, it's just like, you don't have to treat a weekend chilling out as a, right, we're doing this, what's it on, and we're going to go do the next bit.
Yeah.
And I think it was that kind of, you get to the point where everything is like firefighting and crisis prevention. Oh, if that's the right word. And then suddenly you can't do it.
No.
And it's an air of resignation and thinking that, okay, I'm looking after, in your case, your son, but who's looking after you?
Mm.
And I would say that we haven't got the toolbox to be able to do it fully ourselves.
No, I'm listening to everything that you're saying there, and it's like, yeah, you know, eventually you hit the wall, don't you, where you can't do it anymore. And the bit where you're saying, you know, you move from one, you move to the next, you move to the next, you move to the next. I think when my son was younger and the meltdown started, I'm not sure whether it's the same for my wife, but it's definitely with me, I was walking on eggshells.
Yeah.
You know, because having your 3-year-old child scratching, biting, it was, it's not how it's really meant to be.
No. It's alien.
Yeah, it is. But I feel that I've now become desensitized to it.
Evidence exists that suggests adoptive parents experience higher stress, along with elevated risks of depression or anxiety, especially early in the adoption process, than a so-called general parenting population. This is heightened in the early stages of adoption. The moment right after adoption can be emotionally huge. The arrival of a child or children in a place that they've never experienced before inevitably causes anxiety. It also affects the adopters too, who face a new reality and a new way of life. It makes sense that those early weeks are often turbulent. Add into the mix the children's early experiences. Many adopted children have lived through loss, neglect, trauma, or multiple placements or moves in their lives. That history doesn't vanish when they arrive at their forever family. How it manifests is complex and varied. It can show up as sleep difficulties, meltdowns, hypervigilance, or struggles with trust. With some of the early experiences that these children have been through, it's hardly surprising. Parenting through this landscape is rewarding, but it's also demanding. Expectations versus the reality can really knock adopters' confidence. Before placement, adopters might imagine, finally our family is complete. When day-to-day life feels messier or harder than imagined, the mismatch can trigger disappointment, guilt, or self-doubt? And what if your child is violent? How do you cope with the fact that your child, with whom you're supposed to be bonding, turns aggressive at the drop of a hat? The child is likely to be attempting to protect his or herself, or is struggling to show their feelings. These children are not misbehaving. It's just their way of showing that they cannot process their emotions. And this is where PACE comes in again. Whilst the temptation may be to fight fire with fire, that's not what happens. But even clear boundaries are crossed sometimes, and how you react is key. Remember Chris?
What he did was he opened a mid-cycle dishwasher and took out a 6-inch carving knife. Came back into the living room, put the knife to my throat, and announced quite calmly, "I'm going to kill you now, Daddy." I tried to make light of it, and I just said to him, "You don't want to do that, son." He said, "Just imagine if you kill Daddy now, you're going to be hungry in about an hour, and who's going to make you dinner?" And I looked at him, and his pupils were totally dilated. His mouth had got froth on the sides of it. He'd gone a curious shade of greyish white. And he lowered it like a sort of, reluctant aggressor. And he went, "Yeah, good point." And he put the knife down and he lay down back on me, and we carried on as if nothing had happened. A wrong move from me there, and it could have been very different. And if that could have been my wife or my daughter or the dog, or that's a tough situation to face. And I think if I'd have flown into a rage at that time, it could have been quite a different outcome.
It's hard work. It really saps your energy. But as Carl says, you keep going.
It still happens, nowhere near as regular as it did do. They are quite short, the outbursts are, but I think it's probably more of a shock because they don't happen as often. But it's the fact now that I'm desensitized to it that I have the acceptance of PACE that these things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And
which loads of people wouldn't understand in the first place.
No.
So that's one thing. So.
No. So yeah, I accept that every now and again I'm going to get a bit of a beating. And it's, you're right, you go through that bit of a storm, and once he's done that bit of the storm, he's forgotten about it. As I said in a couple of episodes ago, his brain wipes it. I think my brain does the same a little bit, kind of not wipes it clear, but tucks it away as a way of part of self-preservation, so I can continue.
That must be human behaviour.
Yeah.
Human mindset.
It's survival.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think the fact that we've been doing it for so long, and you never really think about the wounds kind of thing of what's just happened. You never really do the empathy bit and repair.
That is very true. And also, if you're like us, and as I've said before, our blow-ups of that scale are very few and far between, if at all. We have, regular, I don't want to say daily, almost hourly rows and fights. And it's like, how often do you get a chance to reflect, not only with your son and go through the empathy part of PACE, but also with your wife or your partner to say, "Wow, that happened today. What do you think happened? What did I do right? Do you think I could have done something different, or did I do something wrong?" We don't have that either, because I'm saying this now because I'm saying this now from a position where, the demands that are put on me aren't as severe, but still, when I'm not working, almost every moment is filled by them. So when we come downstairs after work and I sit down and we will have dinner together, and that's cool. One of them will try and kiss my face, and the other one, which is lovely, but the other one will try and flick mashed potato at me, and it's And then you finish and you clear the table. You say, come on, boys, help me clear the table. Of course they don't. They just bugger off.
Yeah.
And then, so you're doing that and you get everything done. And then all of a sudden it's, you know, you sit, if you're lucky, you sit down for 10 minutes with them. They've got control of the telly. I'm making it sound like a right sob story here, and then it's bedtime. And then after bed, when it comes to bedtime, it's just either one or both of us parents end up in one or both of their beds. And so there's no time to have that conversation even then.
No.
And next thing you know, it's 5 a.m, the dog's on my face again, demanding a walk.
Yeah.
And so it goes on. So I get entirely where you're coming from, but I wonder where it ends. And that's the difficulty, like, because, you know me, I've had that ending in the past and I had to have a reset because I was struggling with other things in my life. And so when I don't see you as that sort of person, I don't see that as a possibility, but how do you see it ending, and what do you see it? Because you have to have respite. You have to, otherwise you will just collapse. Not just out of sheer exhaustion, because it saps every single bit of your energy.
Yeah, I'm hoping to get back in the gym. I know that helps my mental health massively.
And what about the feelings experienced by Carl and Martin? They've talked about isolation in the past. Friends and relatives may not get it. People sometimes expect adopters to feel only gratitude and joy, which can make it hard to talk honestly about struggles. That silence can deepen stress. And then there's a possibility that they're also reflecting on what they've lost. Make no mistake, adoption is hard. You can easily forget who you are and your whole identity can change. The important thing is to find a way to work through these tough times and keep talking. Find people you can trust. Real friends will listen and stick around. And in adversity and through the toughest of challenges, you'll discover that even if it feels like it, you're not alone.
I went away for my 50th this year, 4 days. My wife went away with our girls the year before for 4 or 5 days. And I think that's what we decided to try and do. You know, so that's set in stone. Then you've got the family holiday, and then hopefully we can pinch the odd night where it's just us two, or us two meeting up with friends. I don't know. I think maybe I need to work a little bit harder on taking the lid off the bottle and talking more. I do really worry the fact that he's 10.
Yeah.
He's a big lad.
Yeah.
What's it going to be like in a few years' time? I think if we'd had the 4 weeks holiday, we wouldn't be having this conversation now. But because we're into the 5th, 6th week, I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Pace has really been difficult because I'm exhausted. And I have really struggled with confronting him with stuff because I know, like I said in the video, I'm going to get slapped. And then I worry for his future, the way I react, because we're trying to use, you said it in that episode, that we've got this opportunity to use pace to mould our children into better versions of us.
Yeah.
And I worry that he's going to remember my reaction to things when I've got it wrong.
Yeah.
And then when I do sit down and actually have the time to reflect on the way I've behaved, the guilt comes in and I start beating myself up. I start feeling like shit dad.
Yeah.
And it's so bloody hard. I know there's 2 ways that it could go, and my wife and myself are doing our very best to get it going down the positive way. You know, the help that we've now got in place through my wife fighting for so long, the support now we've got in place. I do feel that when he does reach the age that your eldest son is, I do feel that there is a chance that he will hopefully calm down, but just especially when I sent that video. Yeah, it didn't. I think the confidence in myself with dealing with stuff, it wasn't great.
I've had similar feelings like that, almost like fatalistic. I am that's probably some way, a good way of describing me. Fatalistic and seeing, like, weighing up every possible outcome, or I've gone through those scenarios in my head. And I mean, I suppose because they're a little bit of an unknown quantity when they arrived, and they are boisterous boys, and you start thinking, oh God, what's going to happen when they're 16, 18, and I do something like say the wrong thing to them? And, you know, am I going to be sitting here like with the craze on my hands? and having witnessed them fighting between themselves, and I'm thinking, oh my God, at one stage that's bound to be me on the end of that. However, I don't have that fear anymore, and I think it's very much, as you said, it's those scenarios that you, and those roads you could go down. And I know we as a family have been very strict, I think, at making sure that we know, you know, the older my oldest gets, he wants to go out and do things more, but we're very strict in knowing where he is, times to be back, and if he's not back, you know, we'll ring him and plague him till he comes back. And he's been very, very good at that. I think he wants those boundaries in some ways.
Yeah.
He might moan about it, but he wants to come back here and be part of the family. And I don't have that fear anymore because of, I think, of the almost a strict way we've almost forced him down, you know. But it wasn't our idea for him to go and join Army Cadets. One of his friends was doing it. Now, we've always thought, you know, from the start, he's a perfect example of someone who would thrive in the armed forces because he's so physical, he's so fit, he's so willing to get stuck in, and he's smart. Some friends of his said, I want to do that. And what it's doing is giving him that discipline that the twits that he could end up becoming like, who are his age and getting to bother. And I think it's been really important for us to force him that way. And I'm not saying that will be the solution, but what I guess I'm saying is I can understand where you're coming from with those fears. And I suppose it's the next few years are vital, aren't they?
Yeah. Because, I mean, I don't want to paint a totally negative picture, because we have some really, really good times. And, you know, like I said to you earlier on, he said to me, can I go Greg's? And I was like, yeah, come on then. Well, you know, and I took him up to Greg's, and they had a bit of a, sorry to use the word, fizzy morning.
We're banned in this studio. But no, I'll let you on.
But I gave him the responsibility of ordering what he wanted. And, you know, I'm right behind him. I'm right with him. I'm not letting him go into the shop on his own. But he was very pleasant. He used his manners. He paid for it and took the items off the counter and said thank you. And off we went. And it's like those small things just put a massive smile on your face. Because, you know, we were told when we did the autism course that there are certain things you would have to prompt, spatial awareness things and your P's and Q's.
Yeah.
And with my son, his manners are impeccable, and you don't have to. The only time you have to prompt him for manners is when he's asking for something off me, and my wife.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but when we're out in public, when we're anywhere else, they're impeccable. So there's so many positives and joy that my son brings to our lives, but yeah,
well, they get
there's bumps, isn't there?
Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad thing to acknowledge them, because whatever we do as a family, inevitably, if it's not me, if it's not one of the boys, one of us will be in a grump, or something will happen, and it'll be, and you end up saying, oh, well, we can't do anything as a family because it always goes wrong. So I think you are right. There are so many moments of joy which you have to grab, and things like as simple as sitting on a beach and watching my little one eat the most ridiculous ice cream he's ever had, and then saying, don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
After he's had most of it, and it's like, I'm sitting there because I said, I'm not having an ice cream, so I'm going to diet. And it's like, oh, what are we going to do with this? Well, I know a dustbin that'll eat it. So it's kind of like those are the things that you do have to grasp. And coming back to what you said about not wanting those memories that he has to be that time where you did this, that time you shouted at me because of this, that ain't going to happen.
No.
I guarantee it. Now, I do have one exception to that rule, where my youngest son, who'd been at our house probably, I think I must have told this story before, he'd been with us for about, I don't know, 2.5, 3 months maybe, maybe even less. And my wife had gone away for the weekend, and I was left with the boys for the first time ever. Joy. I thought, brilliant. We're going to do this, that, and the other, and have a lovely time. Anyway, I don't know how you describe it. My youngest went on a rampage, kind of. It was quite funny. He was only 3, but me and his brother were at one point pushing the sofa against the door to block him from coming in. And because he was on I don't know what was going on. The devil was in him. And then it was the one and the only time, although I wish there had been more, time that I'd smacked his bottom, right? And when I say that, it was about as weak as you can imagine, because I didn't, fear of God that I might hurt the poor child.
Yeah.
And to this day, he will say to me, Dad, do you remember that time when and we all sit around the table sometimes and go, yeah, smacked his bottom, and we'll make it's a joke, and he does it for laughs. So I think, I mean, those memories, no matter what happens in the next few years, you're making the right memories. Now, I guess the question is, and it's a question that you probably have asked yourself, but probably try to avoid thinking about, is what happens if he doesn't change? Have you had that thought in your head? And what happens if, seriously, he ups the ante? But my view on that, I'm babbling too much. My view on that is, I don't think he will, because I think there are that many people involved in helping you and, trying to make things as good as possible, that I think there'll come a time when whatever happens, it's all chemical imbalances in the brain. It will be manageable, I believe.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. What would happen if he upped the ante? I don't know.
Well, if you up the ante, it'll be for a reason. There are people with bipolar and psychotic episodes, but they are manageable.
I mean, I think it's like you say, the fact that we have got the support in place now, and he's in the school that we feel is right for him. Although, we've got to try and get him back in there on Wednesday. Oh, is it one of them where we cross that bridge when we get to it? Because, is it, how do I start feeling if I think it's going to get worse?
But you can't go there because it does just destroy you. It eats you up.
Yeah, I think it would.
Yeah.
I think, especially if I'm feeling low anyway.
Yeah. If
I start thinking, doomsday's on its way.
It's like you're in my head.
Is that maybe why we get on so well? But the way he is going when he's in a good place and he's doing well and his anxiety's low, you look at him and you go, he could achieve anything he wants to. Yeah, he could reach for the stars and go for it because he is capable. And whether it's, in an ideal world, perfect. If he met somebody who loved him as much as we love him, they get married, they have a house, he finds a job he absolutely loves. And, he just flourishes.
Yeah.
If he doesn't manage that and it's residential, it's supported living.
Yeah.
But he's happy.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
It's enough, isn't it?
If he doesn't manage that and he's still living with us, so long as he's happy and his anxiety, he all these diagnoses are controlled as much as they can be, and he's happy.
Yeah.
That's all that we can really wish for.
I think, one of my biggest fears is the boys leaving. but that's just, me. But what I want to ask you now is to come on to, I mean, this is difficult stuff, and you have absolute, just like, you've got no guilt here. Just, our lives have changed immeasurably.
Yeah.
How do you balance that kind of feeling of, this is not what I thought my life would be like? Now, I'm not saying it's a bad life.
No.
It's not what you thought it was going to be like, and it's not what you had 12, 13 years ago, for instance.
So, yeah, I mean, we've got friends who go on holiday 2 or 3 times a year for a week, a fortnight on their own. We've got friends and family. My brother-in-law is, he's not a massive football fan, but he's decided, I'm going to get a season ticket to the local football team, start going watch them with a few other our other mates.
Come here.
Yeah. And I can't do that. My wife and myself have to have certain things in place just to go out for a couple of hours. But then you flip it the other way, and like I said, that 4 hours that we had at the skate park, seeing him zip around, asking me to go and watch him or help him out with something is far better than having Gordon Ramsay cook me the best meal.
Christ, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, none of that interests me anymore. Christ. Not that it did anyway, but...
No, but if I had the opportunity of going to a very, very posh restaurant, and, well, not a very posh restaurant, going out and having something to eat and having something to drink, and then there's that, where my wife is quite happily sat having a chat with a few other people who are in the waiting area, in the sitting area, while their kids are zooming around everywhere. And I'm following my son a little bit and watching him. I'd take that every day. And yeah, I'd like a holiday with my wife. We did one a while ago. We had 4 days in in a lodge, and we're actually going back there for our 25th wedding anniversary. We're having one night on his own, and then one night the kids coming to us. But we got up in the morning when we wanted to. What do you want for breakfast? And you just...
The newspaper.
Yeah,
You're allowed the TV you want to watch.
but the thing was, as well, what do you want for breakfast? Oh, you cook one meal. Not, well, I want this, I want that. And then you cook it for them and you go, I don't like that.
Don't want that. Why are there Cocoa Pops crushed all over the table, and why is the dog wearing the milk all over it?
You know, and then we went out in the day and we walked into a shop, had a look around, walked out of the shop without buying anything.
Or having to buy something because it's been smashed. That's right.
But, and although that was fantastic, it was great because it allowed myself and my wife to remember who we were before children, which was massive. Yeah, I'd love to be able to do that. It would be fantastic, but I know we can't do that all the time. But, you know, that picture I sent you of the state of the bathroom, you know, one of my son's intense interests is back, and it's bin trucks. But for him to think, I'm going to put one coffee table next to the bath, another coffee table on top, and then put my bin truck on the top one and empty all the rubbish out into the bath. You know, okay, it took me ages to clean the bath, but he was happy for a couple of hours just imaginatively playing and creating a landfill in the bath. I wouldn't change that for the world.
That is good, and I completely get it, but I'm going to push you a bit further, though.
Oh, no.
Wonder if you have moments where you just think, oh, I'd change this just like that. Now, as a precursor to this, I have those feelings, and I think I've voiced them once or twice to my wife in the last 6 or 7 years, and they're only fleeting, and I don't mean it, but you have this kind of like, oh, we sometimes say, oh, what would we be doing now if, and we say things like, oh, well, we'd be on holiday, wouldn't we? We'd do, you know, we'd be always on holiday, but it's not more than, I guess people with their own birth children, and you know, you've got your own birth children, so you must have done that anyway as well.
Yeah, I think I don't have any regrets, but in those moments of despair, I think you question certain decisions, and I suppose they are fleeting, but you know, when you see people who are similar age to yourself on Facebook sending beautiful photographs, or sending photographs of the feet with the sea. And
they drive you mad, don't they? It's like, yeah, I've been on holiday too.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
And it's like, yeah, I think that you don't regret the decisions we've made, but I do question them at times. And yeah, you know, there are fleeting thoughts of where would we be. I do have them.
Before I met my wife, I was, you know, I was abroad for work at least once a month, and weird, far-flung places, and I think I was ready to stop it, but then I also get that kind of, oh, why didn't I just stay doing that? Because life is so much easier to live like that. One job to the next, going around doing things. I was a completely different person. I was about 5 stone lighter.
You're not that.
I was though. But I don't have those regrets. I just, that's what I sit and contemplate sometimes. I don't have regrets. No. Because when I look at
They have brought things to they have enriched our lives.
Yeah, one of those things happened just last night when my oldest had a friendly football match. The season hasn't started yet, and they had a friendly match, and yeah, they got stuffed. They played a team who were very, very good, but a year younger than them for a start, and they played them at the start of the summer, and I think they got stuffed about 7 or 8-0, and last night they only lost 4-0. And it doesn't, before the game started, we said, it doesn't matter what the score is, just want you to try and put some of those things and put into practice in training. And it was a good game. And yeah, we enjoyed it. And I just remember walking off with my son, and he walked back with me. I just put my arm around him, and we had a laugh about some of the things that happened on the pitch. And it was just like, there's nothing more I need in my life than this, apart from sleep. And I think that was the thing. And I said to him, like last night, I just wish I was a bit more, wasn't so tired, and I could just, do more of this. And I think, that's the plan. Get over some of my personal issues. And I think that's positive. So how, on reflection, I'm guessing you haven't charged your batteries back at all yet?
No, not really, because, like you, I don't sleep.
Yeah. It's a killer, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I've not recharged my batteries yet, but I feel a hell of a lot better. Then I think I've listened back to I sent you 3 videos, didn't I? And I've listened back to them, and the tone in my voice has changed. First 2 I sound dreadful. I can't make eye contact with the camera. The 3rd one, just sound so much more energetic and happier. And, we had that little bit of a blip this morning because we couldn't get his meds down him. But I just felt that I reacted a lot better, and cope with it better. And I think that's probably helped with the fact that I did send you those videos. And I took the lid off the bottle and I let it out instead of just bottling it up. And I know it really does help to talk about it. Because I do feel there is still stigma with men's mental health and men talking honestly and openly about their feelings. And I realise that there's not a stigma in this friendship that we've got, because both of us have been through it. We totally get it and understand it. As I've said in the past, we wear the same shoes. And I think it's remembering that on Monday night, I felt like absolute shit.
Yeah.
But speaking about it, that message you sent me back, knowing that on today we'd be talking about it and that I could get it out, has really helped the last couple of days with my mood.
And I think on that, you've got to have complete confidence that person that you speak to is the right person. And because I am very comfortable about talking about feelings and emotions and all that sort of thing. But then also I do know there are certain people that who I've known for years, wouldn't dream of talking to about feelings, because they're just not that sort of person. But I think, yeah, the stigma's there, but I think, the answer is, even if I don't respond straight away because I'm having a meltdown of my own, I will respond and I will take time to listen and understand when I do, and if that's helping, which it sounds like it is, and I know it is, that's totally fine. and I'll do the same. And I think to bring it back to the fact this is about our children, again, it's that a lot of people, I think there are people in the world who just will shrug and say, oh, it's just life, get on with it, you know, and don't actually fully understand or appreciate those challenges. And they think, you know, little Johnny not eating his peas at the table is the be all and end all of their life. And oh, crikey, what are we going to do? He said, shut up, bugger off. And it's like, oh God, he's going to Borstal. Oh, you know, you just kind of think, okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. You carry on in your little world.
Yeah.
And I'll carry on in mine.
Mine. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I love the fact that I've got my boys. I may not get what I want from or need from them all the time, and they may not get what they want or need from me all the time, but I still, you know, I've said it before, you know, at the end of the day, and I mean that at the end of the day, not using the cliche at the end of the day. At the end of the day, we will all sit around us on a sofa and giggle, fart, laugh at something, swear at the telly, do something, you know, because we are that family. And that is the key. It's the family. And if you've got that, and I'm sure your son will fart in your face as much as mine farts in mine.
Definitely. And if it isn't in my face, he'll do that with his hand to make sure it gets to me.
And that, listeners, is where we're going to draw the line tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Martin.
And breathe.
Yes, definitely. We are very, very close to having a proper and breathe.
Thank you for listening to Adopters Anonymous. As always, the experiences in this podcast belong to Carl and Martin, and they are sure that glorious stress-free adoptions do happen. Well done, and they're not in any way envious. You can follow our Facebook page and share your own experiences. We'd love to hear from you. Next time, we'll be talking about the biggest, most important subject of all. Without it, we'd all be done for. Sleep.
He's had the first good day at school. He likes his new teacher. And he's quite calm as well. So that's it, we've practiced. It's going to be the same every day now. Not a problem.